go, we're in. Let's go back to object mode. I'll get rid of this with X to delete. Go over there. And let's add a cube to get started. Add mesh cube. And yeah, if we want to sit perfectly on the ground, we can change our Z to 1 meter. Inner operator. So just on creation, it'll sit on the floor of our world, our grid. So next we're going to jump into edit mode on this cube.
Just a question.
Yep.
When I select the knife, I'm having a problem. I cannot select anything else. Like, how do I deselect the knife? If I click anywhere else, I use the knife.
You're still in the context, you press enter to confirm the down. Then you can select OK. Or you press escape to cancel.
Hey, how you doing? Very well. So, let's modify this to be our starting point. We'll just create a little area with some borders. Just a minute. Yeah, I'll help in a moment. So, in edit mode, first thing I'm going to select is the faces all the way around this thing. I want to expand it. So I can jump into wireframe mode. And I'll just select, I can draw a box around the center here. Go away. This thing is in the way. So I just have the faces around selected. And then I'm going to scale this out on the X and the Y, but not the Z. Scale. You can hold Control and it will snap to grid points as we scale, or half grid points. And we can measure the size. It's gone to 4.6. I'll make it an even 5. And while I'm here, I'll scale the X as well to an even 5. So scale. You didn't need me.
I was trying to get rid of the knife, so I pressed tab.
Oh, yeah.
Is it the right way?
You can also press escape to cancel the knife or enter the
Escape
control.
wasn't working. So,
Well, tab will jump out as well. Okay, so my goal here is to create some borders around the edge here. With a gap for the player to leave. So we're going to direct the player to one way out. It's a boxing ring, but with a gap. So we want a gap where the player can leave. So what I'm going to do is use loop cuts to create the edges. So I'll create a loop cut in the center here. And then I'll use my factor to slide this one over here. So adjust my factor. If I move it to the left, it's going to slide it more to the edge. And I'll do the same on the other side. Click on your loop cut to set it. And use my factor to slide it over the other edge.
Are we saying the same loop cut and slide?
Yes.
I do know about the factor. Oh, hold on.
In the operator panel. Down here.
Loop cut. I see it now.
So I've created 2 loop cuts. And I use the factor to slide them at either end.
Can it be any?
Dimensions, size.
Yes.
It's your game.
You didn't put a loop, a cut in the middle, right?
Well, it starts in the middle, and then I move it over. So we're going to do the same on the other 2 edges as well. Set a loop cut in the center. So it's just sitting there in the center, and then the factor will slide it to either end. So it starts in the center. So we can use factor to move this over. And then one more loop cut. And I'll slide it to the opposite end. So 4 loop cuts. And using factor to slide them out. This is just to give us the geometry so we can raise edges, like little barriers.
Do you have a job for me now?
Yeah. I sure do.
Look at this.
Hello, Ubisoft. You just found your new star player. Okay, so as I said, we're going to have an exit area, so we'll need some extra geometry for that. I'm going to go ahead, I can use a loop cut again, and just place it in the center, like so. I'm not going to slide it anywhere, I'm just going to put it right in the middle. And then to give myself the space, I'm going to bevel that loop cut so it's still selected. I'm going to bevel that edge just to create more geometry, to give myself the room to create a gap. Bevel. And I'm just going to drag on this handle to create this space. Make it as big or as small as you want. I go about 1.5 meters. Next, let's raise our little walls just as barriers. Give the player a sense of a direction of where to go. I'll get in my select box right here, and I'll select, by face select. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So shift select. Select everything except this part because that's where the player is going to leave from. Then we'll just extrude that area up with extrude region. Let's bring it up a bit. 1 meter. I made it only 1 meter. So I'm not making walls, I'm making areas, just a little lip. Stop the player walking straight off. They'll still be able to jump off.
Why does the silver perspective looks deeper? Mine looks a bit...
Are you in orthographic?
I am now, but it still doesn't look as deep as yours.
Tengo dos nombres, de hecho tengo Derek.
Oh, I see. You just have a much bigger.
No, 5 by 5.
Telenovela.
No, yours is way
Bueno,
bigger.
vos lo viste, Derek, ¿o no?
It was 5 by 5. Right? Wow.
Even your. No, I think yours is more.
De hecho, al principio pensaba que su nombre iba a ser, no sé, de que Power o algo así. Es que no tiene cara de Power, ¿no?
We'll figure it out. It's not relevant what we're doing now. Anyway.
Okay, I'll just make it a little bit taller.
Yeah. So, this is our first piece. We can give it a name now in our object properties over here. Let's just call it starting point. It's got the name of cube at the moment. So object properties. I haven't done anything. Just go over to properties and this little box, and it'll have the name. We can just rename it. I'll call it starting point. Okay, so let's add some color to this. So to do that, we'll need to add some materials. Let's go down to our material properties, which is this one right here. Material properties. You see I have no materials on this object at the moment. I'll just click the plus to add a new material. So material properties, click to add a new one. And things are crashing. Wait. Oh no. Oh, fine. Phew. So, material 001 is the name. You'll see if I change the color, nothing changes. This is because of the view mode we're in right now. So right now we're in solid view. Solid. We want to switch to either material preview or rendered view. So I'm just going to switch to material preview. And then rendered view is rendered preview is how we see our lighting. Don't worry, autosave. Autosave is your friend. Yeah, I should save my file after this. But now you can see that orange color I picked is on my model. I think you've done it. You've done it. So at this point, I'm going to save my work. File. Save as. And let me just check my preferences and make sure I'm using everything. Save and load, save to, system. No.
Right.
Yes.
Quick question. Do you know where can I find the monkey head?
Yes. In the add menu.
Yeah.
So up here. Add menu. And it is a mesh object.
Thank you.
So, we've added one material, but we can actually add as many materials as we need to this model. So you see in this example, there are different colors for the boundaries as there are for the roads. There are also different colors for these arrows on top. They could be textures, or we can actually create faces to color with them. So first, I'm going to add a new material slot with this little plus right here in the material properties panel. So I'll add a new slot, and I'll create a new material. Add new material. Bless you. So 2 materials. And I'm going to change this base color So I've got a kind of faded pink here. Maybe a bright green would go well against it. Remember your UI, UX color balance challenges. Contrasting colors. There's a vibrant green. But it is nowhere on the model. So what we need to do is tell Blender which polygons, which faces will have this material. So if I select any face and select a material, I can click Assign. And that will add that material to that face. So now one face has it. So I might want to select much more. Alt and select will give us our loops. Alt and select. Shift Alt select and we'll get more than one loop. Just to get some quick selection, I can say Assign. And now we have an area with some borders. And I'll just go around and get the other loops as well. So assign based on that material. And you can rename your materials to be something descriptive. If they're just solid colors, I tend to rename them to the color they are. Coral, pink. Bright, green. If we want to add some arrows in here, just using our face method, we could use our knife tool to literally draw an arrow onto this area here to say go this way. So I'll use my knife. I'll get in the top view. And I will start my cut. Angle snap. Oh, it didn't quite line that up. Enter. Now I have a new face that I can add a color to. Knife. Cut any shape you want in there. select the face. There you go. Now it has to make those connecting wires to make it make sense in the face.
They're supposed to be an arrow.
That's great. Yes. Does it want to work? I don't feel. So you're still in that, but you need to confirm that shape.
Where's the shape there?
You got it. So, if you wanted to add more colors to your border, you can add another slot. If you wanted to add, say, I don't know, stripy borders, you could subdivide any of these faces. Right click, subdivide, and it will split it up. Or you can loop cut all the way around and create more and more cuts. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's about right. I'll add another loop cut and another loop cut. I think a bit of red might work here. So I'll add another slot, a material slot, a new material. Red or maybe some purple. I'll try it with red first. So more geometry means I have more opportunity to color things in. I'm just shift selecting all the ones I want. Oh, guess one. Click assign, and now I've got some checkerboard. And once your colors are already assigned, you can't start experimenting. They're already assigned. I can still modify what the colors are, and they will change automatically. I can test out different color combinations. Because they're all already assigned. If I don't like that green anymore, I can just switch it up. Make it a blue. But I actually do like that green and red, so I'll keep it.
Can you copy and paste objects?
You can duplicate them, yeah. Control D or in Object, Mesh Duplicate. So yeah, in edit mode you can duplicate parts of a mesh. I can select everything and just Shift D.
Me va a con sudadera para jugar, ¿no?
No sé mucho de la
Okay, so let's create the next part of this, just a piece of path, and we'll follow our little style that we created. So I'll create another object for this. I'll leave edit mode, go back to object mode, yes, Shift D. I'm thinking of Figma as Control D. So yeah, duplication, somebody just asked, it is up here in object, or if you're in edit mode in mesh, duplicate object, and that will lock you into the move modifier as well. Shift D, so I'm moving. If I press X while I'm moving, I lock into the X. Anyway, I'm just going to move this back a little bit. And create a new cube. Add mesh cube. Bring it up by 1 so it's sitting on the floor. And then I'm going to jump into edit mode on this. Again, I'm going to grab the faces around. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll scale it on the y-axis. I should probably just measure how much it's going to be by looking from the front view. Numpad 1. So I basically want it to be as wide, and this is where the material helps. I can see where that border ends and starts. So Y 2.75, and I'll make the X 2.75 in edit mode on my rescale. And then I'll just create, it's going to be a straight piece of road, a simple straight piece with the 2 borders on either side. So again, I'll loop cut. And I'm going to bevel this until it matches. I can go to top view. I can see it's supposed to be to about there. And there. So I've marked out where the entrance are. I'll bevel this edge with bevel. .5 I've gone for. And I'll just extrude those little buffer borders by 1. Oh, face select. Shift select both at once. Extrude region. And I'll put it at 1 meter on the Z. And then for materials, we've already created our materials. We can use the same ones we already created for this shape here. I'll just need to go to my material properties, add a slot. I'm not going to create a new material. I'm just going to create a material slot because I want to use the same materials we already created. Add a material slot with that plus, and then in our drop down here you can see all the materials we have in our scene. My bright green, my bright red, my coral pink. I'll add bright green, so that's the base color. I'll add another slot and load in the other two. So it's this little drop down right here. So first add the slot, then click this little drop down to see our already created materials. And then just like before, we can assign where we want to assign the new materials and style things up. Coral pink. And bright red. Assign my coral pink to my road, and then I'll need a few more loop cuts. I'll just add a loop cut and increase the number until it's about right. That looks good. 4 cuts. Oh, face select. 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3. Yep.
Again, how was it the focus, the camera?
This dot right here or view frame. Oh, in fact, I probably want to select the other ones. Yes. That's my name. We go to our properties, we can actually change which position. Yeah. You can put that at 1. There. Now, the maximum, the operator panel. Going to be
Sí, no, no, no.
My kind of occupy the same space. Crazy for where?
No.
Normal stuff. Eek. All of it black. Also strange. Imperial shows as black. Very strange. Add a new material. No, thanks, still. Why is it not showing as black? Go to render preview, also black. White. Not casting any light either. I'm not sure what's happening here. Shadow. Like we should be able to see this. May have. Wow. No, I do not know why. The kind of things I know, but these things should not be black. Isn't all of it is you're creating?
No.
Maybe save it, close it, open it up again. All right. Oh, we're nearly at the end of the class.
We're starting to get fun. Look at these.
Well, you have your task for the rest of the week. I just want to show you the reason I'm creating just this segment of road is this can be a modular asset, meaning we can duplicate and use it again and again. So if I go back to object mode, we can add a modifier called array to extend this whole thing. So I'll just snap this up to the top here. Move it so it's close. And in our modifiers, the little wrench, I can add the modifier, and you can just search for array, which is list, or we can generate an array. What this does is creates copies of the shape with offsets. So if you have a straight piece of road or a straight piece of corridor and you just want to create fast duplicates without duplicating and positioning everything like so, you just go to add modifier array and you can see it's duplicated backwards. I'll just do -1. And now there's two parts of road that are connected together, and I can change the count to be as much as I want it to be. 3, 4, 5. I can go 50. We have a very, very long straight piece of road. We also have our offset values. So our offset values on the X, it's offsetting by 1 of the entire piece. If I adjust the Y, which you see as that green line, the axis, I can start shifting things off to the side. And now I have a diagonal road. Or if I wanted to create a little bit of a step effect, I adjust by 1, and now I have a staircase to heaven. Ascending stairs. So that is a modular asset, an asset that can be reused and repurposed. And obviously you need more of this, so if I wanted to turn a corner, I need to create an actual turn corner. I'm playing with Scalextric, the little cars. You have all these track pieces that can fit together. That's the way I tend to think of it. So create them as separate pieces. We have a starting point, that can be the end point as well. Just put that on the end of this staircase. Obviously 50 is a little high. Let's just say 5 or even 10. A reasonable amount of stairs. You obviously don't want players to just walk straight the whole time. Even that could be a little bit too much. Until we start building another platform or area. But I can just duplicate this point. And I'm holding control to snap to the grid points. See the grid squares? As I move. So I move normally, it's like this, hold control, I can snap, snap, snap. Oh, and rotate this around. And that's a perfect 180. So, a very short level design. And if you want to see how the level's looking with your lighting, just switch over to your rendered preview. And you can see I have one light at the moment, a point light. We can duplicate that the same way. We have light properties. It changes the color. This is only available when you have a light selected.
Oh man.
So I can say, oh, a red light, a purple light. And if I change to a sun, it's going to be blinding white. Very strong sun. I might bring that way down. Just give directional light. But I like to work with point lights anyway. And then add lights along the level. Duplicate the same way. Shift D. Some nice lights to your level. So we'll do more with lighting, but just a quick one, you can add them. And if you want to add them from everywhere without duplicating, it's in the add menu. Light.
You select the light?
The same way you select anything else. In object mode it has to be selected. If you're in edit mode, you're only editing that shape. Object mode. So you can't mesh edit a light. So work on this level. Next week we'll take a look at what you did. And I'll stop this stream right here and I'll put the video, the link to the YouTube channel on Google. There, a Fall Guys level. We did it, 30 minutes.